as I'm sure you've been caught up on the story or at least heard the story of what's going on right now with Trey Holly, who turned himself in to the Union Parish Sheriff's Office on Thursday and faces a charge of attempted second-degree murder. That is one of 3 felony charges he is facing to a shooting last week in his hometown of Farmerville, Louisiana. Sheriff Dusty Gates, and I'm reading this from ESPN's report, and Pete Thamel. Sheriff Dusty Gates of the Union Parish Sheriff's Office in Farmerville told ESPN in a phone interview Thursday that Holly turned himself in around noon and is being held on $512,000 bond. Holly's arrest Thursday is one of 3 arrests tied to a February 9th shooting in which 2 people were shot. Gates told ESPN that both of the shooting victims are expected to live. Holly is also facing charges of aggravated criminal damage to property and illegal use of a weapon. Holly has been suspended indefinitely from all LSU football team activities. LSU said in a statement that they were aware that a student athlete has been arrested in relation to a shooting in Union Parish. A lawyer for Holly told The Advocate, Wilson Alexander and the crew over here at NOLA.com and The Advocate, that his client plans to plead not guilty to all 3 charges. Kevin Rogers, who is the attorney representing Trey Holly, said, Mr. Holly emphatically denies all charges, and we look forward to having our day in court. Of course, Trey Holly, the freshman running back for LSU, who carried it 11 times, 110 yards. He scored a touchdown against Army. Came to LSU as one of the most, as we said, one of the most accomplished backs in the state of Louisiana high school football. He set the state's all-time rushing record with over 10,000. In fact, he left high school with 10,532 yards amassed during his time in high school. And he also scored 160 touchdowns in his high school career at Union Parish. He was the number 10 running back ranked in the ESPN class of 2023. And as we said, Sean Fox had a front row to call all of Trey Holly's games in high school. He also emceed Trey Holly Day on his high school campus last year before Holly reported to LSU. So Fox has a really good point of view of this story, and just, how, if you've ever been to one of these small towns in Louisiana and, you're somebody that the community and that the town looks up to, like Trey Holly, it's hard to explain the popularity of that person. I mean, I have been back to small towns with college friends or, calling high school football games over the years, been to small towns and seen how just a different type of life a small town star lives. And Trey Holly, make no mistake about it, is the biggest star in Union Parish. The most popular person when it comes to just recognizable faces within the streets and community of that town. So to say that this has rocked the LSU football community, is saying something. To understand what it has done to the locals, to the people around that community and around that parish, I don't get it. I mean, like, I've been up there. I know what Trey Holly means to that place, but I mean, I was on with Sean Fox yesterday afternoon, and it was as if Fox, I mean, I've been doing radio with Fox for almost a decade. I mean, like, a long time. He and I have a really good relationship. I mean, yesterday he was a zombie. He was a mummy. I mean, he was in a state of just shock. And I think that is the overall feeling of that town, that community. And Stewie, I'm going to send you Foxy's number, and you can just call him, and we'll just kind of patch him into the conversation and bring him in because I hate to start opening day of baseball,
especially that electric intro.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
But this is newsworthy and something you have to talk about. So just one of those situations where you kind of let the whole thing play out, as LSU said. You have no comment at the time because you want to respect the judicial process. But there's no more Union Parish officer than Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah. And, we want to make sure and recognize, everyone is obviously innocent until proven guilty, and he will have his day in court to explain. And as his lawyer, Kevin Rogers, stated, he plans to plead not guilty to all 3 charges. So we'll just have to wait and see. But, just the initial shock of the story obviously is just the heaviest part right now.
And even with however it plays out, I'd imagine his time at LSU was done.
You would think that it would be, if you were asking me to make a judgment on whether or not he played at LSU again, if I was betting today, I would say no.
Right.
I would say no. All right, do we have Foxy? All right, let's link up with Sean Fox. And as we said, Fox, a great friend and somebody who we do radio with each week. He's got a great radio show up in Monroe on the ESPN affiliate up there, and really kind of the voice of that area. And as we said, he's on Sports Talk 97.7. He's the sports director up there as well. You can find him online at sportstalk977.com. And as we said, Sean Fox joining us here this morning, jumping on what I can imagine is still a very, just crazy day. Fox, good morning. I was telling our audience that, you and I have been doing radio for a long time, and yesterday it was different. You were, I think it was fresh off the wire that Holly had turned himself in, and just the shock that I could hear in your voice. I'd imagine that's what your town is like right now. Can you give us a description of what it's like up there this morning? One second, Foxy. One second. Hold tight. I want to make sure that we get everything that you have to say.
There it is.
Foxy, got you?
Yeah, y'all got me?
Yep, I got you. Okay. All right, so just start over.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No. I heard everything you said. I was saying, but first, we are friends, Jordy. You've been coming on my show for years, but the last 2 times you've had me on was in August when I almost died in this. So we got to get on for some better topics.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about
that's
it.
the last times I've been. But Jordy, listen, I don't live in Farmville. I live in Monroe. I know, probably most of the listening audience probably never heard of Farmville until Trey Holly. To your point about how important Trey's been. Monroe's probably about 45 minutes outside of Union, but obviously I've been closely associated with this program for quite a while. I did call the young man's entire career. Jordy, he started playing varsity football in the 8th grade. He was the starting kick returner and the number 2 back, but started getting the number 1 carries in his 8th grade season. You knew he was going to be Coach Joe Spadafora for Union told me, going into his 8th grade, he said, Foxy, I got something special. And he was telling me about his 40. It's one of those things where he was talking him up so much, I kind of rolled my eyes like, well, I've heard this before. There's no way he could live up to the hype. Well, he did and surpassed it. So to say, Jordy, that this area is rocked would be an understatement. Even Monroe, because this guy was a source of pride, kind of like Will Campbell from Neville. We love most of us who are, this state is mostly LSU fans. Obviously, there's going to be haters in different pockets. But, when a kid from North Louisiana makes it and is successful at LSU, it is a very big deal. But you're used to the Nevilles, the West Monroes. And there's been kids from Union who have gone to play college football, but not at LSU. So for Trey to be able to do that was such a big deal. And yes, this is and Jordy, you called me at absolutely the wrong time, because I'm sure you started hearing whispers about it. Man, I probably could have broken this story 1,000 times over the week. I didn't want to. I didn't want to. And I was like, man, because I'm so close to the program. Because Jordy, I don't want to believe it. This is like the last thing I would have expected. I kept waiting. Like, let's wait for more facts to come out. Maybe there's going to be video. And I was like, let me talk to. I was trying to, contact some coaches with contacts I have at LSU. I had just gotten a call from the coach at Union when all that was going on. And man, like I opened my show and I said, listen, I'm not going to sit here and lie, guys. This has rocked me because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I hung out with the kid. He was, I'm 41 years old, and I don't live in Union, but I know plenty of people do, and I was around him before and after games for 5 years, and he was the nicest, most polite. Jordy, this gets said a lot and cliche. It's absolutely true. I never saw the kid without a smile on his face, ever. And I talked to one of my good friend who was my color guy all these years, and I was like, look, man, Chris, did you ever have any suspicion as he goes, and he lives there. He's lived in this town the entire life. He's a former Union player. He goes, Foxy, never. And he said, never. He said, I still find this hard to believe.
Foxy, this may be an unfair question. You can pass on it if you need to, but I mean, you're up there, and I just wonder if it's out there. Does anybody know what happened?
So, Jordy, I hate to speculate. I know it started over a fight, and it started over, I believe, some females fighting. I believe Trey's sister was involved, and that's about as much as I know.
Yeah.
I do know it started with a fight. He was not involved in the initial fight.
Was there parades happening that day?
No. It's funny you mentioned that, Jordy, because we had a show on Mardi Gras, and I was like, boy, the difference between up here and down there. And my mom was here. She lives in Mandeville. She's like, so y'all don't have anything on Mardi Gras? Like, you don't have any parades? Like, no, Mom, we got like 2 parades in Monroe. That's it. So I think Union's got a parade during, they call it the Watermelon Festival, Jordy, and they had a parade for the state championship recently. Other than that, that's it. So I guess Trey was back, ironically, because it was Mardi Gras break at LSU, and I think that's why he was in town.
Yeah. I guess we just watch the legal process from here, but as we said, I mean, Foxy, can you give our audience, and it's not like Baton Rouge is some huge cosmopolitan city that is big and but it's a different stat. It's got a couple of high schools in town. To be a small town high school football star, I mean, it's on the scale of what some of these guys that are around LSU walk around in Baton Rouge. I mean, it's just a different type of status.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you were to say word association over the last 6 years of you say Farmville, people would say Trey Holly. Mm-hmm. I mean that, and Jordy with that, like he was such a sense of pride, and a lot of people are like, how can this happen? Well, Jordy, yes, most people love you, but look, we all know this. It's not just a Trey thing. When there's success, there's always going to be people jealous. So yes, while majority of people are going to love you, there's still going to be, even in the hometown where you're the star, there's still going to be people who hate you and are jealous of you. And I'm not necessarily saying that led to this, but that's just a fact of life. You are never going to be universally loved, even if you're the most popular guy in town.
Yeah.
But yes, he was a major deal. And yes, completely out of character. You mentioned the legal process, Jordy. I can't sit here and tell you whether he's guilty or not. I'm just going to continue to hope that it comes up. They're going to find some footage. They're going to find whatever they need, and hopefully the young man is innocent. I hope that's the case.
Yeah, us too, Foxy. Thank you again for jumping on with us on a small turnaround. I know that you're very busy up there with all of this stuff happening. So have a great show this afternoon. Tell our listeners how they can find you real quick.
Yeah, Jordy, and again, I always appreciate jumping on. I've always been a big fan and a friend of yours for years. We're if you're up in North Louisiana, Sports Talk 97.7 FM. You can catch us online, sportstalk977.com. Hit listen live. We got a free app, 977 Sports, and I'm on in the afternoons, 3 to 6 p.m. every single day up here. For 21 years now, so yeah, been a while.
Glad you're healthy. Talk to you next Thursday.
Hey, pal, thank you. See you.
All right, man, there he is. Tough morning up in North Louisiana here with the news.